What's up, Tejas? I'm here today with Jennifer Perez Medina. She is the founder of The Socially Connected here in Houston, and we are in her office today. So thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. And, like one of the first things, well, I guess we'll get to that in a second, but I do have some questions, like as we were talking before we started. But let's start with your background. What led you to what you're doing now?
Yeah, so thanks again for having me. I currently am doing social media for women entrepreneurs, women small business owners. But my backstory really starts in journalism. I started working at the news desk at 39 here in Houston locally and did some work in that space. But then I shifted over to PR. And I spent my career of about 3 to 6 years, had a baby in between in public relations. And then during that time, social media kind of exploded and invaded into the media ecosystem. And it was either adopt or figure out something else to do, right? So I adopted it and really started working, getting a lot of satisfaction out of working and helping small business owners and really learning how to leverage their online presence. As we all know, social media kind of started as a personal connection, social network, and then quickly evolved into allowing businesses to get in on that space. So it's a constant learning curve for small business owners, and we're always trying to help them leverage it as much as possible.
Yeah, and so you studied journalism. Did you have a focus in public relations?
Right, so actually my degree is in English literature.
Oh, wow.
My minor is in communications with a specialty in journalism and production. And so with that specialization, I was able to take, front of the camera, all the writings, newspaper writing, TV writing, commercial writing, and all those classes that really kind of developed my comfort in the media space. So that's what my specialty is. So a lot of people ask me that, do you have a degree in social media? It didn't exist when I graduated. Okay, I'm kind of dating myself there, but it does. I believe there's specializations in social marketing. So.
Yeah. So I was actually a public relations major myself.
Okay.
And we're about the same age because I think we graduated the same year.
Yeah.
But same thing, there was no social media back then. There was no classes. It was barely, the professors did not know what to do with it.
No, they didn't understand. I mean, the idea that we were learning about the internet in a book, in an actual textbook that costs more than what we got back for it, really does tell you how far along we've come since then. So
yeah. And I'm definitely jealous of the students nowadays. Yeah. So y'all are lucky.
Except I'll tell you this though, as soon as they graduate, I shouldn't maybe be saying this, but it may be totally different, because it's so constantly changing.
Yeah,
that's the only constant about social media.
But that's why it's always really important to learn and watch YouTube, like our channel.
Subscribe now.
Yeah. So one of the questions that I had was do you work with people outside of the Houston area? Because this is on the internet, right?
Right.
So you can work with pretty much anyone.
I do. I actually have clients in Arizona, in California, in Philadelphia. So I work with clients all over the country, and so it's exciting. I actually have my team as well. I have a part of my team is remote. So I have a team member in Canada. I have another team member in West Texas. So the internet really has opened up the scope of what we can actually do.
Yeah, definitely.
It's exciting.
And I feel like the pandemic too kind of made people more aware of the possibilities of working remotely, not having to be in the same office.
Right. And the only reason, and this is a funny story, because before the pandemic, I was already officed from home. I had my office at home, and that's where I would work and I knew about Zoom before Zoom blew up.
Did you buy stock?
I should have. Oh my God, I'm still kicking myself for not. But after a year and a half being cooped up at home, and I'm doing virtual school with my kids, I told my husband, I'm sorry, I need to take a breath. I need to get out of the house for a little while, whatever, let me get an office space. And, coincidentally, we landed here. And I'm just really excited. I'm so much more productive. I don't have, Mom, I need crayons, or Mom, I can't sign in. What's the internet password? So it's much more productive.
And so for our viewers, we are actually at She Space, which we interviewed in a previous episode. So you just happen to be office
Yes, which is really an amazing coincidence. It's just a phenomenal space, and I just get so much work done here, and such a fun environment. It's vibrant. Right, I'm a shoe-in for this space.
Yeah, right up your alley.
Yes, for sure.
So let's explore a little bit more about like what you can offer your clients, and maybe like what are the popular things that your clients want, and what is your favorite thing to do?
Sure. Great question. So my product, what we call a product suite, is I have my agency side of my business. So I have clients that literally say, here, Jennifer, here's my social media, create the content, write the captions, manage it, you do it all. And all I do is really connect with them on a monthly by monthly basis to see what they have going on in their business, what they're just making sure that their message is aligned, that we're portraying their tone and their values accurately on their online presence. And that's the agency side of my business. On the online side, I have a digital course where people can learn to do it themselves. You know, sometimes small business owners don't have the budget, of a marketing budget, you know, to really outsource to an agency. And so during the pandemic specifically, there was this big gap that you saw where people were kind of left with, I can't go open my business. So how do I make a living? How do I really, you know, earn a living now? And they had to explore shifting their business online. And they hadn't done that before. They had to learn how to market, how to create a strategy. And so I created the course with that purpose in mind. So I have that available as far as my products. I recently launched a membership where small business owners are incredibly busy. So it's like, I don't have all the time to go through a course. I just need to pop in, learn what I need to implement, brainstorm ideas, have a bouncing board. So that membership, you know, is something that I launched just because the clients were like, okay, what do I do next? How can I continue to work with you, but not, you know, still with limited budgets, you know, because they're a small business owner. And so that's something as well that I offer. And then lastly, my one-on-one coaching, social media coaching. So whenever a client is really like, Jennifer, I know what my message is, I know what platforms I'm on, who I'm targeting, who I want to talk to, I just need one-on-one direction into how I'm going to launch in the fall for this product, or prepare for 2022, or whatever it is that they have upcoming. And it's all, I almost serve like an in-house consultant for them, but you know, they're not paying me a full-time salary,
right?
So it's just one-on-one social media coaching. So my favorite part, I would say, is anytime I'm coming up with ideas and brainstorming, that is my favorite part of working with clients or students. It's really allowing them the space to see that everything that they know about their services and products can be content. Like there's been some clients of mine that have said, Jennifer, you opened up a tap, and now everything that I see, it's like content, that can be content, that can be content. And it's like, truthfully, social media was meant to be social. So whenever you are trying to create a strategy or really don't know what to say online, all you have to do is really tap into what your expertise is, and just, you know, share it with your audience so that they can get to know you and trust you, and then eventually work with you.
And so what would you say, like before we started recording, we were talking about, you know, connections that you had made when you were in college, and staying in touch with them and seeing how they progressed. But like, what would you say is important as far as like keeping connected with people to further yourself, and then also maybe joining other organizations that are like professional organizations where you can continually learn?
100%. So as you mentioned, we were having this conversation about the people that I went to school with and where they are now. They're reporters, they're press officers, public relations specialists. They all went into different spaces of the niche, right, of the industry, and social media allowed me to stay connected with all of them. For the most part, you don't see alumni until your 20-year reunion, right? But it opened a lot of spaces to make connections whenever, you know, we were talking about stories and how we can help clients. For example, it'd be like, hey, is this something that, you know, you could cover as a story, or can I pitch you an idea? So it's really helpful to stay connected that way. But also part of the reason that whenever I launched my business 3 years ago was successful was because I joined a networking organization exclusively for women entrepreneurs. And so they provided the space for meeting in person, talking, brainstorming about our business issues if you were a new business owner, and collaborating with one another in our work. And networking is a big part of being successful in business, I believe. And so making those connections, learning how to follow up and keep in touch. It may sound like it's so easy, but you get so overwhelmed sometimes with all the things you have to do that you're like, oh yeah, I need to call this person. Truly building relationships, I feel, is, if not one of the top things to do as a small business owner, the top three. Building those relationships, really, somebody knows somebody that knows somebody. It really does work that way.
Yes, definitely. And so what would you, or actually, how did you find that organization that you became involved in?
So I have a friend photographer. Her name is Victoria Garcia. She's a personal brand photographer. Plug. She was speaking on a panel for a women's event. It was a networking conference, like a speed networking conference, and she invited me to attend. At the time, I was still playing with the idea of whether if I was going to start a public relations agency, or if it was going to be more so geared towards social media. And coincidentally, there was a business coach there that really spoke to me, as far as answered all my questions without me even like saying them out loud. And it was just kind of one of those moments of fate that I felt like, oh my God, I'm supposed to be here. And then the networking organization was putting on the event.
Yeah.
And so I just like built really great relationships, friendships, collaboration partners within the people sitting at my table. And it just really kind of flourished from there. I've been a member ever since. With the pandemic, we were one of the first organizations that moved things online, to networking online here locally. So I don't know if I can say the name of the organization. Can I do that? Yeah. Okay. It's called Women Helping Women to Network.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, well, I was waiting for you to say it.
Oh, I don't know. Like, can I say it?
Yes.
But so it was, they've been really supportive, the members, and for my events, for showing up for me. A lot of people don't understand that small business owners, like, you don't always have to buy from them in order to support them.
Right.
It's really showing up, at their events online, really supporting their content, commenting, telling somebody about you as a small business. That's like worth thousands. In value.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then, like, what about for those people that maybe they're getting started and, like, for them, they're not as comfortable building relationships? Like, what would you say to those people?
So I totally understand. I feel like it is a little bit more difficult if you're an introvert to build those relationships. But I think taking it one step at a time and starting with one person, one phone call, and whatever you feel more comfortable doing, whether it's sending a text, shooting an email, connecting with them via platform. I think you have to take step one before you get ahead of yourself, and get worried about something that hasn't happened yet.
Right.
In order to be successful in business, in my personal opinion, and of course it varies per niche, right? There's people that never have to leave their house, right? But there are industries where you do need to connect and collaborate and do it continuously and consistently. And so it's really just thinking about what the fear is, and maybe finding a networking buddy, like somebody that's going to go with you and it's going to be by your side and feel like, okay, this is a code word if I'm ready to jet. Okay, yellow, let's go. So I feel like that is helpful, because once you start building those relationships with the people who are there, you tend to relax. I think the expectations are always like, they're going to ask me a million things about my business, and I don't know all the answers. And that's okay. Not having all the answers is okay. It happens to everyone, and it's a learning process. Entrepreneurship is, not unless you've been in it with 20 plus years, and even that, like, my husband's been in business for 20 plus years, and we're always dealing with new stuff all the time. So
yeah, well, I just turned you into a psychologist here. But those are great tips, though. What about, like, your attitude? It seems like you have a really great bubbly personality. I'm sure that there's days when you are not like that. So, like, can you tell me about an obstacle that you might have faced, like maybe when you first got started, and how you overcame that?
Right, so I don't have a business degree, right? And while I do have a husband who's been in business for 20 plus years, it's like, I'm sorry, I just don't have the time to guide you right now. And so I'm like, what is the next step? Like, okay, I have a business name. I went to go register it. what do I do now?
Yeah.
Like the idea of putting together packages or your services or a marketing plan to promote yourself, all the things that come with being an entrepreneur, I was totally, they were foreign to me. So going to the networking events and talking to other women in business helped. I worked with a business coach that guided me in putting pieces together. And then being open to learning new things and being okay with, you know what, I can't do this. I need help with building my website, with understanding what email marketing is. How do I grow my list? So it's a learning curve, especially if you don't have any business background.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of asking for help. Definitely, it's out there, free and paid. So it's just really the direction that you want to choose. It's really up for grabs. That information is out there. There's plenty of professional organizations and online as well. I feel like people say, oh, there's Google University now
Yeah.
or YouTube University.
Yeah.
So there's really not really an obstacle as far as I would say that I wasn't able to overcome, but more so at the very beginning, like not having that business savvy to know what steps to do next. So being able to be open and asking for help and to move me forward.
Yeah.
If not, I would have been stuck still figuring out what do I charge for what, or offering 100 different services when I only needed to offer 5
Right.
or whatever. So yeah, I would say that was an obstacle at the beginning. I'm also a mom of 2, so figuring out my schedule as a mom and trying to be there and be a present force and for my children. I have a 4-year-old and 12-year-old now, so it's like 2 different worlds. First of all, 2 different schools, 2 different sets of extracurricular activities. So it is also good communication with my partner as far as you're doing that and I'm doing this. Here are the schedules. Let's go.
Yeah.
So it took us some time to get a good routine going, and there's things that always change last minute. But I think that was also something that we had to learn now with 2 business owners in the house.
Yeah.
Whereas,
Definitely.
yeah.
So how did you stay motivated to keep going?
So I have mentioned them again, my 4 and 5-year-olds. I mean, my 4 and 12-year-olds here. But they're really, for me, it's important to demonstrate to them that they can do anything whenever. Like, you can choose to change your mind and do something new and try something new, or even take a chance or a risk at something and be successful, or fail and try something else. And there's nothing wrong with that. I believe I was raised in a generation where it was very one path: go to school, build a family, and then what you do after that, you do you, right? But I feel like there's so much more opportunity now and earlier, right? And giving them those opportunities and my having a business allows me to do that. It allows me to support them in anything additional that we may need, and also the flexibility to take them where they need to be, and again, allowing me the time and space to be present for them.
Yeah.
And so entrepreneurship has a lot of cons, but the pros, definitely outweigh that.
Yeah. So you said that you don't have a background in business, and obviously when we went to school, social media was not taught.
Correct.
So how did you learn about business and about social media, and how did you keep up with all the changing things on social media?
Right. So great questions. So I don't have a business background, but I'm very much a reader, hence my English lit degree. But I love picking up books and getting to know just different business models and understanding how to approach different services. So whether it's a brick and mortar, or whether you can do it online, it was really picking up and self-teaching, right? That's one thing. And then as far as the social media piece, public relations, I like to say that social media is very much like PR, except through a different medium. So, and very much like commercials for TV or radio spots for radio. All you're doing is truly just marketing your business through a different medium, a new medium. So if you consider, we didn't have the internet up until maybe the late 80s, early 90s. So, and before that was TV, and before that radio, etc. Right? So now it's just really adapting to this new medium. And then of course we know that social media is constantly changing. So one of the things, the biggest perks for my students and clients is that I make it my business and my job to read every single morning anything that comes out of Facebook headquarters, anything that comes out of the big resources that are connected and collaborating with the social media platforms. I get daily, I would say 5 to 15 emails about Instagram updates, Facebook changes, the algorithm this, TikTok that, the scheduling apps are gonna now do this, or the API. And I mean, I'm gonna like, it's verbal diarrhea all of a sudden, because my clients don't care to do that. They're focused on making their business work and providing services or products for their clients. And so part of my job is really staying up to date for them and for myself, right? That's how I remain competitive, like as far as learning how to do this, teaching you how to do that, and really, the focus here is not let's be everywhere. It's really understanding, okay, this new thing came out. Let's analyze and see if it can work for your business. And if it doesn't, then no, you don't have to be on that platform.
Yeah.
And so it's a lot of therapy as well. On the client side, it's like, why am I not there? Well, you don't have to be, and it's okay. And you're still going to be successful where you are now.
Yeah.
So just to answer your question, I'm very self-taught. The resources when it comes to social media, there are courses now. There are gurus out there that have worked directly with the companies, with the social media platforms, who have come out and really tried to spread their knowledge around. And but there's a lot of us out here really learning as we go as well. As soon as information comes out, we're learning it too, right? And it is just how fast can you quickly turn around and adopt it for your clients and for your audience. And so to answer that last question, as far as keeping up, it's really just a matter of knowing that education and educating myself is part of my business.
Yeah. So one of the things that you said was reading, and I feel like I read somewhere that successful business owners, like people that are at the top, they read a lot. So it's very important to read.
Yeah, I mean, I think knowledge is power, no matter how cliche that may sound. It really is. It's like, as far as there's a lot of information that you can capture through videos, through podcasts. So there's different forums, I think, depending on how you consume your information. I just, because of my background in lit, like I'm just much more, I like the tangible.
Yeah.
I have a Kindle, I read, but it's just like a matter of.
I want a book.
Yeah, I truly do.
I want to market it.
I do as well. I write notes, I highlight, I use stickies. I mean, I don't have my book library here. It doesn't fit, but I have it at home. And there's a lot of marketing professionals who've been in the business longer than I have. And so a lot of it is also not repeating mistakes that they've made, really realizing that a lot of the social media books that I've read are now obsolete. Yes. Because the algorithm changed, because there's new platforms. So knowing to take and leave, strategy is very uniform. Marketing strategy kind of is no matter what medium you use, you still need a strategy in messaging. And identifying who you're talking to. But the mediums are always going to change. In my opinion.
So just because I'm curious, what's your favorite social media platform?
Currently, it's Instagram.
I could tell.
Quite frankly, And
then what would you say, like I looked at your social media and it's so bright and it matches your personality and your vibe. But what would you say is like the secret to making a really catchy social media post?
So what we call the scroll stopping pieces of content, or content that, captures and captivates. For me, the secret is really speaking as if you were speaking in person. I always recommend my students and clients, like, write your captions like if you were speaking to the person in front of you. There's less formality in that, and I think it takes off the pressure. Whereas, like, it has to say this, and I don't feel comfortable selling, and that's one of the biggest pain points that we address all the time. If you truly step into your zone of genius and really believe that what you're going to do for this person that comes, into your audience, then it's not really selling. You're serving them. You really are helping resolve something for them. And so it's a mindset shift that really allows you to create content that comes from a place that is going to make impact versus you trying to sell.
Yeah.
So I think that if you address your strategy, your messaging strategy from that kind of mindset, I believe your content is going to be much more resonated with. People are going to be like, I tell my students, I'm like, you want people to be doing this. Yes, that's me. That she's talking to me. Oh my God, how did she know?
Yeah.
And so that, to me, that is the key and the secret sauce to truly engaging content. You know, really sharing from a place where you're serving and resolving for your audience.
Yeah, that's great advice, and definitely we'll be using that on our social. I'll tell our social media person to do that. That's me.
So sell.
Yeah.
You're gonna do one of those reels. Like sell.
Yeah.
You need to like write the way you're talking.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So next thing, we are going to do our Texas Trio, which is where you're going to answer some questions out of this hat.
Dun, dun, dun.
So you'll answer 3 questions, so you can go ahead and pick your first.
Okay. Do I read it myself?
Yes.
Okay. Finish this. Everything is what in Texas? Hotter.
Yes.
I mean, I was gonna
the
go
girls
for the
are
cliche.
hotter. The weather is hotter.
The beach.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's. I could have gone for the cliche, but I didn't. Did you see that?
We all know what it was.
Yeah. What food means Texas to you? What food? Fajitas.
Yeah.
Fajitas. Yeah, fajitas.
Definitely.
Says Texas to me.
Where's your favorite?
Fajitas?
Yeah.
The ones my husband makes. I love you, babe.
Okay, we're coming for dinner.
Do you prefer Tex-Mex or authentic Mexican food? Oh, food questions. Authentic Mexican, because that's what I cook. And I feel like, well, I dig a good burrito bowl, you know, every now and then, or like some cheese, enchiladas based in cheese. I really do prefer authentic. And I happen to have my mother live next door to me.
Ooh.
So that's a plus.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I would totally live next to my mom if she didn't live in the burbs. But thank you so much for interviewing with us. And I feel like we learned so much. And we're going to make sure that we let our viewers know where to find you and get your services.
Oh, excellent.
And follow you on social.
Yeah.
Definitely follow her on social because it's like some great content. I like it. So.
It's at the Socially Connected.
Yes.
That's where you
and
can
we'll
find
make sure we drop it all down below. So.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. And thank y'all. Bye. What's up, Tejas? I'm here today at the Houston Zoo. It is National Zoo and Aquarium Day. I want to know, what is your favorite zoo to go to? There's so many different things to do at the zoo, so many different animals to see, and I know at our zoo we have a lot of really great events throughout the year. So during Christmas time, you can see all the Christmas lights. They have a special thing during Halloween, and just like a lot of different activities for kids. I have been to one that's really amazing in Dallas. It's actually an aquarium and a zoo, and I think it's called the Dallas Aquarium, but y'all need to visit it. It's like a must visit. And also you can come to the aquarium where there's many great things to see and lots of great food to eat. So make sure that you stop by your zoo. Let me know in the comments which one is your favorite zoo to visit or aquarium to visit, and also what's your favorite animal or fish. So let us know in the comments.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Till next time, that's all, y'all.